It's really annoying me. This beam of light is really annoying me. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? First, for me, a contest entry on YouTube. This is from Richard McCook. He's been a vinyl channel on YouTube now for 3 years. So the rules are, you must be a subscriber, you must make a video, let him know that you've made the video. I'll put his video link in the description down below. The prize money is £50, PayPal or Amazon voucher you choose to go towards records, and the closing date is the 14th of February. And what you have to do for the video entry is, it's all about threes, except because he's celebrating his 3 years. You have to pick 3 artists from your collection and show their best and worst albums that you own of theirs on vinyl. Show 3 albums that you have on CD that you wish you had a vinyl pressing of, or records that are maybe on CD but they haven't got a vinyl release. And show 3 artists where all you really need of them is a hits compilation, really, the best of. You don't need any of the individual albums that come in their discography. So those are the rules of the competition. These are great because they just they give you the video content already for what it is that you need to do, and then it's just great fun putting it together when it's something that's not your idea. But yeah, those are the contest entries. This is the video here. I'll put a picture of his channel up as well, Richard McCook. And yeah, I just really want to get into this now. So first up, I thought I would do the CDs. I have a little CD collection. So the first one on my, if I really want this to be on vinyl list, is Michael Jackson Ones. This is the original CD that was that my dad must have bought back when this came out in like 2002 or 2003, and essentially I grew up listening to this in the car. I love the Quincy Jones era of Michael Jackson, like the Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad. Those are by far my favourite MJ records, and I do hope to own those on vinyl someday. But this hits compilation, this came out on vinyl, just like a standard, because I know this did come out in like a 12 LP box set, and now that's like £900, so there's no way I'm paying that. This came out just this kind of like style, design, with this track listing, because I got so used to listening to all of Michael Jackson's tracks off of this hits compilation essentially, that I'm used to this track listing more than I am Michael Jackson's albums. Even though I love his albums, I'm used to the track listing on here. So just to have this on vinyl, I would buy it in a heartbeat if it came out. Yeah, so fingers crossed on this one, but yeah, that's my first one. Next one, Razorlight. So Razorlight, I just really like this album, and I could have got this on vinyl as well, which makes it even the more annoying, which is why I've included it now. So when I first started collecting, there was only the original press of this, and it was too expensive for me to buy. Then they repressed it, and it was pretty available everywhere online. But I was kind of like, nah, I won't get it, I'll hold off and get it in like a shop or something. And then eventually it disappeared everywhere again, and now it's, starting to creep back up into the hard to get price range of things, really. And it's a shame because I really like this album. There's not a single track on this thing that's a skip for me. I love every single one. But yeah, it's just a quality album for me, this one. And the last one has never been pressed on vinyl. It's from 2011, I think. No, 2010 now. And that is Tiny Tempah, Disc-overy. And this is Tiny Tempah's debut album. Came out in 2010, and this man, when I was in high school, basically owned the UK charts. So, and yeah, it takes me right back to high school. It was never pressed on vinyl, and actually I think I looked at when the 10-year anniversary for this was coming up, and I was following Tiny Tempah on every socials, just because I was thinking, vinyl's making a comeback. It's the 10-year anniversary. This is the perfect time for them to drop a release for this on vinyl, and obviously they never did. So for now, I just have to make do with the CD. But yeah, I I really like this album, and I really hope that it does at some point in the future get a vinyl pressing. Okay, so the next question is for artists who, you know, a greatest hits compilation will do you. You know, you don't need to own their discography. You know, you're just happy to have their number ones, and that's fine. So the first one is actually one that I picked up recently and I had on the channel, and that is Bloodhound Gang, Show Us Your Hits. I said when I even bought this record that part of the reason I was happy to pick it up is I'm never gonna really want to own any of the Bloodhound Gang's discography. You know, I'm just happy to have their greatest hits compilation. I don't really need any of their kind of like individual albums. This will do me fine. So yeah, there's that one. The next two might be a little bit more contentious, really, I think. This one is Foo Fighters. So I've put this up. I picked this album up quite a while ago. I got it really cheap as well, actually. And I do really like the Foo Fighters. I think they are a really good group. I don't know, whenever I've tried to like just get into their albums individually, I don't know, I just always end up just gravitating back to the hits. I do think they are a really great group. I've just never really gotten into any of their stuff really outside of, you know, what's kind of like on this album. But as I said, it's a really great album. It's a really nice vinyl pressing as well. This, yeah, it's like a nice. And the last one, this is actually bought for me as a gift before, and again I've had this in my collection for ages, and it's Elvis. So I've gone back and I've put this on every now and again, but I have found myself, now that my collection's growing more and more, I found myself going back to this less. He probably will have a couple of albums that I would like to own individually. To be honest, I find this with a lot of older artists, and I do like older artists, but sometimes their discographies for how prolific they were putting out albums back in the day is so daunting to look at that you just almost don't know where to start. And he's definitely one of those people where he's just got so many of these albums that he put out, and it's kind of like, where do I even begin? But if anybody does have any kind of like, because I really like soul and blues and stuff like that, and I'm sure there's like some, you know, just like a great chilled out kind of like Elvis album that people would recommend, and I'd be happy to take recommendations, but you know, up until this point, I've just been happy with having this as it is, really. But yeah, those are my three. Bloodhound Gang, Foo Fighters, and Elvis Presley. So the last one really is the main one, and it's the one, pick an artist in your collection and show us your favourite album of theirs that you own and your least favourite album of theirs that you own. I've got a couple here, so I had to, because it's the artist who I basically own their entire discography minus one record. And that is Eminem. So I've gone for the best, the Slim Shady LP. So I really like this record. It's really good. It's just a quality album altogether. There's not many skips in it for me. It's just, there's so many stories as well that I just love. Like, I've watched documentaries about like the making of some of the tracks on this album, so I couldn't not include it as my favourite. Eminem, it was a toss-up mine between this and the Marshall Mathers LP, but yeah, in the end I decided to go for this one for my worst Eminem one, and that is the Revival. Yeah, this is a pretty nice looking pressing altogether. But yeah, I mean, like many people, I just really couldn't get on board with this album. There's not many tracks on this that I go back to at all. I really don't like the Beyonce Walk on Water. Yeah, there's just the next one I wanted to do is Ed Sheeran. So it was a toss-up for me between his best for like his first two albums, so Plus and Multiply. I ended up going for Plus, just because this is the kind of Ed that I like, and the kind of one, you know, just him and his guitar for a lot of this. I really like singer-songwriter, you know, busking style. There's so many tracks on this album that I like to go back to as well that are just really good to put on, especially, you know, when it's like it's autumn or it's winter as well. It's just a really nice album. And then for all the opposite reasons to that, I've gone for his latest release, Equals. So with this one, it's just kind of like, it's just a lot more poppy than, you know, some of the other stuff that he's done. I don't know, I think a main downfall for me for this album is kind of like it falling between the release of The Weeknd doing After Hours and The Dawn. Partially because there's a lot of kind of like, I want to say like influence from like The Weeknd's kind of like where he's gone for like a synth pop 80s style kind of thing, and he just Ed doesn't do it near as well as The Weeknd does, and especially now that it's sandwiched between two of those albums coming out. You know, I really don't like Overpass Graffiti on this, but what I would say, and this again goes more towards why I prefer Plus, is I saw Ed do a Instagram live where he was playing all the tracks from this with just him and his guitar in a room, and it completely changed a lot of the songs and made them a lot better. I just really wish, I really hope that for the next album now he does go down that more, just go back to like the acoustic kind of thing, less of the kind of like poppy stuff. And again, it's stuff like Bad Habits. Like, I did like Bad Habits and I do still like it, but I do much prefer the acoustic version of it than I do the version that lands on the album. And yeah, I just kind of like, and you know, this is still a good album. I do still really enjoy it. Like, there's certain tracks on here, like there's one track in particular, Visiting Hours, that, you know, thinking of it, that might make my top 10 favourite Ed tracks of all time. So, you know, I'm not by any stretch of me saying this is a bad album, but it's just not as good as the other stuff I think that falls in his discography. And the next one, and this is an artist now, I don't own an awful lot of their records, and I just want to point out that I absolutely love both of these records now, so this isn't really kind of like I'm basically just picking like the worst of the best for the other one. But the last one I've gone for is Al Green, and this is Al Green Gets Next to You. This is my favourite Al Green record by far. This is on a really cool green pressing as well. I managed to get this. I mean, the music alone would have me pick this as the best one, but just look how cool. I don't know if the camera can pick that up properly. Just look how cool that pressing is as well. It's amazing. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite Al Green record. I always tend to go back to this one more than any others of his. And yeah, I love the track listing on this thing. First one, Al Green Gets Next to You. And then the next one, as I said, is another one that I really like, but it's just my least favourite of the ones that I've got, and that's the Record Store Day, I think last year, pressing Al Green Give Me More Love, orchestral greatest hits. So it's just a case of I'm not normally a massive fan of greatest hits compilations, and I'd rather, with Al Green, he is an artist who I'd rather go back and listen to the albums of. But you know, this is still a really good pressing, and this is, well, it was at the time my joint favourite Record Store Day pick, and it probably still is. It's a really good record, really nice artwork as well on it, and the pressing is a colour pressing again, so it's kind of like, you know, it's a lovely, you know, it's all nice and colour themed, and then the record itself is just a nice, really nice pink. You know, as I said, that one there is definitely the worst of the best. I don't have any Al Green records that I don't like. You know, he's certainly done albums later on in his career that I don't care for nearly as much as the original ones, but I'm probably just never going to own those on vinyl. But yeah, those are my best and worst picks as well. And again, yeah, I just want to do a massive thank you to Richard McCook for doing this contest. It's been really fun to do, and yeah, here's to many more contests. Hopefully I'm keeping my eye out, and I've already got another one that I'm looking at entering. You know, and the prize is just a bonus, because making video content alone is great. And yeah, thank you for watching, and if you can, like, subscribe, and yeah, hit the bell notification. Cheers.